was alone when I woke up. The first thing I saw was the sky, as clear as never before. I knew that if I stayed, I would never see you again. The moon was waiting, but I kept on falling. I had to get away to the only place I knew.
A Way Closer is a 10-minute interactive experience conceptualized and developed in 14 weeks through Humber Gallery's Nuit Blanche Fellowship. Participants take on the role of an unnamed character who is trying to escape the noise caused by everyday life. Inspired by Nuit Blanche Toronto's curatorial theme, The Space Between Us, this game explores dynamic spaces that reflect on the relationships we can sometimes take for granted. My name is Mason Victoria, and I am the artistic producer of this project, and I'm so excited to share our journey with you. The Nuit Blanche Fellowship brought together 7 like-minded students from various bachelor and graduate certificate programs found at Humber College. Students specialized in design, music, industrial design, arts administration and cultural management, and user experience. I think one of the most impressive things, kind of looking back on it, was that at the start of the project, we literally did not know each other. What was your experience kind of like meeting all these people for the first time and eventually kind of creating this product that, you know, would just kind of be the culmination of all of your ideas together, which is fantastic to see?
I guess it was like a bit nervous at first. You know, you don't know anybody, you're kind of going in with zero context to a situation, and that's where I can get a bit intimidated.
I think that at first it can be a little bit intimidating because we didn't know each other. We didn't know what was going to happen, like what are we going to do.
We even all came from different backgrounds, some in music, some in industrial or UX. So it was interesting to see other people's perspective on the same thing.
I think when you're in a creative field, you just kind of work and develop that skill to be able to like meet new people and pretty quickly try to work together, because as a musician, that's a lot of scenarios. You get thrown into a band and stuff that you don't necessarily always know everyone.
We met online. We see each other 3 times a week, but somehow managed to create a whole experience like this is astonishing to me.
Prior to building our project, we spent a lot of time getting to know each other by presenting our ideas as to what the theme of Nuit Blanche meant to us as individuals. This led to various discussions, prototypes, storyboards, and the creation of our eventual story.
We had to create a big picture of a puzzle and create the small pieces and then really assemble it in a way that can create the whole experience meaningful for users that didn't have our, perspective at the beginning.
But right off the bat, everyone was super nice. And it's funny even remembering how quiet everyone was when they first met. Because by the end of it, everyone had blossomed and had gotten really comfortable with each other.
Like after, I would say 50% of that time, I was already feeling like family with all these people. And that's a great feeling,
Everyone was really cool and very easy to get along with very quickly. I don't remember it being very awkward in the first few weeks. I mean, compared to a lot of group projects and things.
So I think each of us has our own role, but we would use our skill set and our role to collaborate and create with each other, like every single day at the fellowship.
And so I was just like, wow, these people are like, I'm really happy to have met all of them. We've gotten close and I've appreciated that a lot.
I was in the social need, having social interactions, but like you guys provided this. I'm very thankful.
The students quickly learned that they were no longer working with peers that were in their field. Because of this, a lot of time had to be spent on creating a universal language that all the students could use. This helped the students understand one another as they avoided using vocabulary often found in their field.
I will say at the end it was all great. Of course, there were challenges. Sometimes, you speak of a terminology and like other person don't understand that. Like, what does that mean?
I remember I was introducing the design thinking process, and then Andre and Mercedes would come up with story and storyboarding, which could be another section of how the same terms mean differently in different industry.
One of the things that I found personally valuable was when we were working on the interview and survey questions, because I've done it before, but with very, very short timelines. And for this, we were given enough time, enough brainstorming, where I feel we got really good questions to get data to apply to our project.
There was a really interesting dynamic between the people that came from really creative fields, where like art as the primary goal, versus people who came from more industrial areas, where from one angle get like data to try and figure out how we're going to do things like surveys. And that was completely new for us on the like musical side.
And we have so many fun and interesting conversation about art versus design. There was a lot of talking back and forth about how this project could be something that we want to tell people, or it could be something that we want to do for people. That's like the two area that we were trying to balance and then use as a stepping stone towards like the storytelling experience.
I really appreciated working with some students who had a different experience with how they analyze data, which I'm like, oh, this is very helpful to see that system. And then you guys were also helpful enough to bring in several speakers, and one of them really helped us fine tune. And I feel I learned a lot from that specific experience that I can carry forward with me.
The story followed a poem created by one of our fellows, Andreas Arroyo. We decided to take his poem and designed areas on the imagery it invoked, while also exploring themes of loneliness and discovery. All the students wasted no time working hard on the project, mostly using software that they had never used before.
There was definitely a mix of things that I really knew what I was doing and I was really comfortable in, and the exact opposite.
Yeah, it was great working with Matt because we knew each other's tendencies in terms of composing. So that was the easiest part for us. To make our piece was like a half a day's job, but to get it implemented for the game is where him and we were both like learning a lot every day throughout the fellowship.
Definitely a lot of learning curve. I mean, we started out with brainstorming and co-creation and the survey, which is like very much my comfort area. When we started solidifying on the art, the music direction, and the storyline, we started creating this amazing virtual world for our stories.
Yeah, initially I joined as a UX designer, but also within the game, it was kind of first time for me that we were playing with the Unity engine, the game development engine. I was like somewhat familiar with it, but this time I learned from you how to implement. So, everyone was working on their end of the work, and we were all implementing into the same room.
I learned entire new programs that I had never used before, like Fmod and Unity. When I say I learned them, I know there's still tons more within them that I could learn, especially Unity.
There are so many skills which we developed over the fellowship that we might not even know when it might come and play for us.
And it was actually really fun getting into it. It was something I'd ever really imagined myself doing. And then once I actually started learning about it, it was really interesting and it was cool.
I mean, the assets were created in Blender and Unity. Most of us, including me, had no experience whatsoever with the two programs beforehand. Somehow we managed to taught ourselves and each other the skills we needed to get started in a really short period of time.
I've been familiar with some programs, but we used Blender for this project, and that was a really, really big learning curve, like hours on tutorials. I mean, like, I don't understand this. It works completely differently. And then towards the end, just like I was very happy with what I completed, and then seeing everyone else just also go through that learning curve and being like, wow, they just like pulled this out, or like having questions. Like after our meetings, I would sometimes call some students and be like, I'm so confused, and everyone was so nice to be able to explain, oh no, the button's hidden behind these 40 tabs, it's over here. And that was really helpful.
And I think that's a kind of a useful thing going forward, to have a bit of a feel for like how that actually works and how that's done. It always seemed kind of enigmatic to me, the idea of like audio implementation and interactive audio. It was exciting and also challenging. Yeah.
Now that you can look back at that project and moving forward in the things that you are doing, how has this project impacted the way that you're working in your field, the way you're communicating in your field?
It's like I was saying earlier, it's given me an awareness of how much we talk like with one another and within the program, within a certain language, and I'm noticing it so much more, you know. And one thing I have heard about when you start working is that you're not always talking to designers, you're talking to business owners, people who just have an idea, but you can't be like use shorthands or certain language that doesn't appeal. So I feel it's really helped me in trying to communicate with people who aren't in the design field, which I think will help me a lot. Even now when I'm trying to explain concepts to people who aren't in the field for various reasons, I find myself thinking back to like, oh no, this is how these people thought about it. Because I still like am taken aback with how many interpretations people could make of the same idea, and just it's like a full-blown world in each interpretation. I'm like, wow.
I learned a lot. I learned about collaborating in a virtual setting with people you have no knowledge whatsoever before. And I learned about communicating effectively, managing the project, and dividing the workload into bite-sized tasks. For example, my program, it would just be a big design problem. And if you don't give yourself tasks over time, it will ended up just you would have to rush everything in the last week or so, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I've heard a story.
We didn't do that.
Yeah.
I gotta say, it really developed me how to work with a team of all creative people. Like working as a team, that was one of the biggest ones, because I never worked on a project with so many people working at the same time together. So we were always talking about what we have done wrong and how can we fix it. You know, what might be the outcomes, what might not be the outcomes that we were like foreseeing.
I'll probably only be able to really answer that in a year, because like it's pretty recent, right? So you don't always know how things influence your process until like years later you're looking back on it and you're like, you know, come to think of it, that totally influenced the way I approached X, you know, just technical side. Like I know how to use a bunch of new software that I didn't know how to use before, and I can now take gigs where I will need to use that software, which is great. Like it's a huge thing. Like if I need to do interactive audio, you know, on the other level, in terms of like the creative process, it's experience collaborating with people. And so I'd like to think the next time I do a project like that, where I'm working with people, you know, who I don't know, I'll be that much, I don't know, wiser or, you know, better at it. I don't know.
Can you get back to me, please?
Hey, it's me again. I know we haven't been able to hang out recently.
Hey, it's me. I'm calling to check up on you.
I'm a little worried about you.
Hey, by the way,
You've been so quiet.
They're telling me you haven't replied
Are
in
you
3
okay?
days.
It's been really hard.
What do you mean you can't make it tonight?
I don't know how much
I feel that you've changed lately.
You're probably not doing
take a break.
Have fun.
People make
Enjoy
mistakes,
honeymoon.
but you can't keep on doing really
It's been
hard.
on work like that.
The problem
I was alone when I woke up. The first thing I saw was the sky, as clear as never before.
You've been so quiet.
You're telling me you haven't
tried
replied
Are you
in 3
okay?
days.
When we met,
It's
you were super
It's been really hard.
So
It's been really hard.
Want to talk?
I feel that you have changed lately.
I think we should take a break.
People make mistakes.
So you care.
The moon was waiting, but I kept on falling. I knew that if I stayed, I would never see you again.
You've been so quiet.
I had to get away to the only place I knew.
Want to talk?
I feel that you have changed lately.
I think we should take a break. People make mistakes.
So you care.
Have you finished your assignment yet?
It was so bright. It was so far from the sky. I thought it would never be the same.
We should take a break. People make mistakes.
But when I closed my eyes, I saw you again. Now I understand. The ocean always took care of me. Now I can see you were there for me.